Ladies and gentlemen, order in the court. Today's proceedings find the people versus James McGill.
Legal troubles got you down, inheritance coming up short, scammers getting the last laugh. Ha! Drug lords in your future. Well, where there's a will, there's a way. Because he'll get your case dismissed. He'll fight for you. He'll get you the defense you deserve. But only if you say the words.
Oh no, I need legal representation. Whatever shall I do? What do I say? Oh, wait. I know. Better Call Saul! Or Snoopy. So without further ado, it's time to start judging Saul. Court is now in session.
You will atone.
All right, Dragon. Besides the Snoopy thing that I added there as an improv bit, I get a gold star for that, right?
Are you no longer the second best lawyer?
No, I just couldn't find the mug. I'm sorry.
See, this is a detail I would have liked to know beforehand, but okay. But on the whole, they good on the intro.
Yay! Okay, so that means that this whole podcast is going to go terribly, terribly wrong. So, Blue Dragon 5, we are here to talk about Better Call Saul, Season 3, Episode 4, Sabrosito.
Yes.
All right, big episode, Dragon. Very unique episode in the world of Better Call Saul because Jimmy himself does not show up until 27 minutes in. So yeah, really, really big stuff. So let's build up to Jimmy, Dragon. Let's
first off, let's highlight our director.
Oh yeah, by all means, sure.
So our director, of course, is the famous, beloved producer of not only Better Call Saul but Breaking Bad, if I'm correct. Tom Schnauz, who is famous for directing and writing throughout Breaking Bad. He also has both at the same time directed and written. He has worked on memorable episodes such as Pimento. Switch, and a very historic one from Breaking Bad, Say My Name.
Nice.
The writer is John Glatzer, if I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. He wrote Amarillo.
Okay.
From last season.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very strong writing in this episode for sure. Stirring monologues galore. Oh my god.
Well, remember, he in Amarillo, we open with that excellent monologue that Jimmy has about your nephew Steve.
That's true. Okay, so Dragon, let's dive right into it. Get it? Because it starts in a pool. All right.
Yep. So we have a fantastic opening. This is absolutely hands down the best part of the episode.
I think this might be, outside of maybe the Gene cold opens, the single best cold open we've gotten from Better Call Saul.
I
don't really think it's a contest.
The only one that I think holds a candle to it, to be honest, is the episode 7 opening from last season, the flashback to Jimmy's childhood.
That was good. That
is the only one that you can make an argument with. That's the only one aside from the Gene openings. That and the flashback. So, oddly enough, both flashbacks. So again, flashbacks and flash forwards are the way to go with these openings.
So we have a pool, a very nice, familiar-looking pool, and then a very familiar face dives into that pool, Dragon.
The face of Stephen Bauer. No, to be more exact, it is Don Eladio diving into the pool, and of course is a very famous reference to his eventual fate in Salute, season 4 of Breaking Bad.
Oh my god, just seeing this guy again, Dragon, I know you were as stoked as I was to see him.
You know how much I love. Let me just remind the folks, because we really don't get a chance to really kind of dive, no pun intended, dive deep into the old days of Breaking Bad. Aside from
we might in the future.
But this is a great cheeky intro to one of my favorites from Breaking Bad, Don Eladio, who is played by the wonderful Stephen Bauer. As I mentioned, Stephen Bauer is a character actor, does great work. Most recently, he's in shows like Blue Bloods, and he plays kind of this district this very verbose attorney that always is after the police commissioner. He's always going after the Reagan family. He's like one of those guys who's like very public. Hey, look, it's the NYPD screwed up. Let's lead like God knows how many countersuits against them. That's kind of usually his role. And also, most recently, I've seen him on Ray Donovan. So
yeah, this actor very much seems like he has a presence where he's like the biggest personality in the room every time he's on screen.
And the thing I always love most about Don Eladio that they capture here so perfectly and so eloquently is the fact that you're right though, he's such a great song and dance man. He has so much. It's like basically what if Gus had a good time with things? What if he really lives up, and that's what's so terrifying about him. He can turn on you on a dime.
Sure. So
but again, he's so darn friendly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really is. So let's see. We start with
I love his first line. A lot of his first line is a great meta line. It says, "Oh, you're back."
Yeah, right.
He's speaking to Hector, so Hector's arriving. And in terms of our setting, just to establish it, so our setting here is 1999. Now, this is 10 years after the Hermanos episode.
Okay.
That was in 89. This is in 99. So the idea is Gus has been working for him in those 10 years, and they've built up, quite the empire in between. And this flashback is 4 years before Better Call Saul.
Gotcha.
4 years before Better Call Saul, 10 years after the death of Gus's partner.
Okay.
Yeah. Now
so Hector's walking out with a couple of his cronies.
And Jimenez.
Yes, and Jimenez.
You remember Jimenez, don't you?
Vaguely, very vaguely.
Well, he had an important role last season.
Did he?
Yeah, he was the truck driver. Remember the one who was singing and then driving the Regatta Halado truck?
Oh, that's right.
He's the guy that Mike robbed.
Yeah, because Mike left him alive, of course.
And he was killed last season. So again, he's alive. He's amongst the land of the living again. So yes, Jimenez, whoever we built him up, he might have been like kind of their answer to Mike, but no, he's just kind of the clever truck driver. So basically, what's exposited in this? I'm sorry, you go on.
No, I just really want to talk about how Eladio is just a master at fucking with people. You know what I mean?
Like this is the best part about Eladio right here. You never know if he's going to hug you or kick you.
Like basically, Zimenez is kind of like addressing Eladio out of turn, and Hector, of course, very much scolds him. And then Eladio, he's just like, "Oh no, I'm just teasing. Don't worry about it. But hey, be careful around Hector, though. He gives no second chances." Of course, folks, it's worth noting, Dragon, that all the dialogue here in this cold open is subtitled, which I think was a very bold and realistic choice of the show to have this much time in subtitles. You know what I mean?
It's also really funny that Stephen Bauer and especially the actor that portrays Hector Salamanca, they not only are they both from Scarface, but they both speak really. They're not really verbose and they're not really skilled in speaking Spanish, so it took them a lot to get this.
Right.
Especially Hector's actor. Mark Margolis. Thank you so much. Yes,
you're welcome.
Margolis. Yeah, he's been silent through all of Breaking Bad, so he never had to speak Spanish.
Of course. Right.
One flashback, and now he's speaking Spanish all over the place. So again, kind of a challenge for the actor there, and. Of course, we got Bauer here who can rarely speak Spanish. He's always coaxed when he does. So again, he's always prepared.
Okay, so Hector. Hector's telling. I'm sorry. What?
I was going to go through the exposition, but
we're both so excited to talk about this. We're like talking over each other. Go ahead for the exposition.
Just to boil it down, so Hector. So Eladio greets Hector. You're right. He's all smiles and everything, which is great. He bought an ice cream factory and company, which of course ties in the Regatta Halado. He introduces Jimenez, the benefit, who has the benefit of the customs run through. Basically, this guy runs through customs all the time. And I get a sense that initially, before in '99. It was a lot easier, basically just based on kind of the face of the guy. They get a lot of collab through. Oh, this guy's in all the time. He delivers ice cream, just kind of let him through before they're screening for drugs. I just filled in the blank on that one, but I could be wrong. Regardless, the point is that the guy, he does these run-throughs all the time, so he's experienced.
Sure.
And then we get, as you mentioned, the tense bit of Eladio testing the loyalty with the intimidating questions, and he passes. He he gives him these really intimidating questions that could go either way, and he just gives him a big old smile and stuff.
Yeah, right.
It's great. He warns that Hector gives no second chances, which, as we see with Jimenez, is definitely the case because Jimenez gets shot by Hector.
Okay, so let's see. So Hector's kind of trying to. Yeah, he's trying to kind of. Hector is in such an underdog position throughout this scene. You know what I mean? It's like one of the few times we've ever seen Hector in an underdog spot in either of these two shows. But
this scene is so fascinating. I gotta mention this. I called something in this episode, and I was really happy about. I had no idea it was. I called the. Ever since Ricardo Halado was mentioned, I was thinking of Don Eladio when we were going through that because Halado sounds a little bit like Eladio, and right. So here's the story behind this: that they were going through names of way back when they were creating Don Eladio, when they're going through names, and it's a fun meta thing in this episode here where Halado was one of the names they considered. And that's why the place is called Ricardo Halado. And when they landed on Eladio translates to Greek, and that's why he's called, it's the winking Greek, because he had the necklace of an eye, plus the name translated to Greek, so winking Greek. That's where that's how that comes through, as he's mentioning in the Halado. Let's see if he brings it out.
Yeah, I think he brings out the Sabrosito as soon as
Tiki and I had no idea what Sabrosito was going to be.
No, we had no clue.
And what's great, because again, when you think of like Sabrioso or something, which translates essentially to tasty. What Sabrosito translates, it's a mixture of little and translation of tasty. So his name is Little Tasty, but it's Sabrosito.
Okay.
And I love what it was. What it was. It was this adorable little ice cream bobblehead with a spoon with kind of a Greek motif.
It kind of feels like it would be made in the same toy factory as the pink teddy bear.
Yes, it does. Oh my God, yes,
you know what I mean? It just fits so well in kind of like the ABQ verse.
Yeah. The Albuquerque verse, yeah. And it's so great about it too. By the way, it's a fun little thing that this guy was around since season. They built this guy in season 2 because he's really small in the shop from the exterior shots. He's in the ice cream shop.
Oh, okay.
So
I can buy that. Sure.
He's been in the background. Now we're getting a formal introduction to Little Tasty. And I love, and this honestly is my favorite. And this is the thing where I'm so fascinated by it because you actually feel a little bit of sympathy for Hector coming up, and we're building it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And again, never in a million years will I ever think of feeling sympathy for Hector Salamanca. But yeah, this little Sabrosito bobblehead. I love that Hector. He feels proud of himself. You're right. He's the underdog. He's getting the pat on the back. He's getting the thumbs up from Eladio here. He's getting Eladio is so charmed by it. He's like, oh, it's supposed. But
then, of course, Eladio does go right back into his mind games with Jimenez. He's kind of like, oh, what do you think, Jimenez? Do you think it looks like me?
Jimenez. It's an H.
Jimenez.
No, it's spelled X, but it's pronounced H.
Jimenez.
There you go. Okay,
so you know what I mean. He's pressuring Jimenez about like, oh, this is very chubby. Not like me. I'm not that fat. Do you think I'm that fat, Jimenez? Like just this very like, oh God, if I give the wrong answer, I'm dead.
Exactly. It's so great. This is why you love Eladio. I love that we sell this guy. We gotta remember this guy in Breaking Bad, but before Walter White comes on, this guy is the top of the heap.
Absolutely.
He is the cartel. We need a face for the cartel. It's this guy. And
this guy's kind of like he's like a more reined in version of Tuco, where he's got like all the entertainment and unpredictability of Tuco, but he's just like way more professional and knows how to keep his stuff under control a lot more than Tuco does.
Exactly.
So
let's see. So as they're getting to that, Hector has Jimenez present his rubber band money. No, he hasn't he hasn't kind of invested in rubber bands. It's like money wrapped.
Money wrapped in rubber bands. Yeah, we got it.
So, and I love this, and I love how they work this too. How Eladio, after he's presented with little Sabrositos, is this all you bring me? It's like kind of like present. I love the equivalent of this whole scene where it's like presenting offerings to a god vibe. It's like presenting
totally.
It's like the Greek god, so to speak, is like asking to present here. And by the way, Stephen Bauer, he is not Greek, but he's actually he is he's Cuban with kind of some Italian roots on his mother's side. Just saying, he plays a lot of different nationalities. Like on
Cuban
I just want to bring
Italian on the side sounds pretty Greek to me. I think he could get away with that.
No, I mean it's cool. I'm just saying the guy. Not only that, like in Ray Donovan, I've been watching. He actually plays kind of somewhat of a Russian descent. So the guy plays a lot of different kind of backgrounds. So he's really good. Anyways, I like kind of working on the Greek thing. So, but again, it's like presenting offerings to a god. So just be like, what else do you bring me? And then, of course, presents him with the money. And then as things are going good for Hector, we have Bolsa arriving, right?
Bolsa. Yeah, Bolsa.
Juan Bolsa, who, by the way, was Bryan Cranston's roommate in college.
Really? Oh, God.
Yes, and when this guy arrived in Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston was on the set. I know, it was so funny that no one knew this when they cast the guy. So basically he was on set and Cranston was like walking by or something. Maybe he directed him, I'm not sure. He walked by and says, "Oh, hey! Yeah, he and this guy are roommates back in school."
Oh my God! Okay.
This is a little funny mini story. Yeah. So again, Juan Bolsa interrupts Hector's pride, Hector's parade. He kind of rains on Hector's parade, so to speak. And the idea here is Bolsa facilitates on Gus's behalf. He's the messenger for Gus.
Yeah, he gives Eladio a Los Polos T-shirt, which of course you can see the seething hatred in Hector as he sees it.
Again, let's remind the folks that Hector, of course, shot the other chicken brother, not Al from Al's Toy Barn, but the other chicken brother in the.
Can you imagine Wayne Knight in that scene instead of the other guy we got? Oh God!
No, but shot the other chicken brother in the head and made the corpse stare at Gus right in the face. Again, there's a lot of bad blood between Hector.
Of course.
Let's never forget that in the same location, by the way. So
and, first of all, I love how Don Eladio is so excited about the shirt. He's like, "Look, Hector, pos manos."
No, but Roy always says it all. He says it like this. Manos. He said, it's not even that. He says it so hilariously. He says, "Pollos hermanos."
And then, of course, Hector, he says something very un-PC. He's just like, "More like butt brothers."
Yeah, I love all the direction this thing is going because there's so many really small kind of micro power moves. Because
definitely.
The minute the stuff comes here, mainly the money coming up. I love how he tosses the minute Bolsa arrives, essentially, he tosses the little rubber band money like on the thing. Just like tosses it, like kind of shoves it aside. I don't care about this. It's like a little thing of like, oh, Hector's being outshined big time.
Oh boy.
You can see the jealousy in Hector immediately, and you almost feel a little sympathy because Hector, he's kind of going. It's a humbler.
Well, I mean, let's talk about just how meticulously these stacks of cash are presented to Don Eladio here.
I call them money towers. That's
my God. It's just like the most professional thing I have ever seen.
So initially, if I can build it for a moment.
Oh, sure.
Well, so Hector has done a really nice humble job here. He says he's got an ice cream kind of side business going on as a way to kind of facilitate the transport of the drugs and the money and yada yada, and also probably launder it somehow as well. And he's doing well. He has like a little very nice gesture, like, "Hey, the winking Greek, that's you." He's scoring major points with a lot.
Right.
Business as per usual. The rubber band money, all is going well. Bolsa arrives. The representation of Fring, he brings like a little T-shirt. Like, okay, I have nothing to fear here. It's a little T-shirt. Ha ha ha! It's not even wrapped. And then then Bolsa snaps his fingers, and men behind him bring 3 giant duffel bags of money that aren't just your average duffel bags of money. They're saran wrap money towers.
Yeah,
and Hector's money is already just pitiful compared to
Hector, it's just like it makes Hector's like little rubber bands of bills just look like a dying old Yeller compared to like these mammoth towers of money.
But all of them don't. All of his rubber band money doesn't even make half of one tower.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so instantly, again, you're just in that moment. I felt this weird twinge of sympathy. I was just so amazed by it.
Totally.
Again, like Hector has this real kind of I won't say heartfelt, but he has this real kind of like humble little offering for Don Eladio. It gets overshadowed by the man that he feels immensely superior to, Gus Fring. So let's see. So after that,
Eladio really likes the presentation. He's kind of taunting Hector about like no more rubber bands. oh, it's so neat and tidy.
Oh yeah, he's wowed by it, and of course, Gus is a distribution genius. Has to explain this. I imagine that paired with the fact that he has the new Poyos operation kind of in the works at this point.
Mhm.
I think it's like 4 years ago. I think I would imagine that Poison is probably getting off the ground at this point.
Sure. So let's see. So Frigg's representative says that he's going to come and pay his respects soon. And Eladio basically says like, no, just have him keep doing what he's doing. He doesn't need to come here.
Let me mention this. I read into this, and I love it if this is what they're doing with that.
Okay.
I love the idea that Eladio doesn't want Gus ever to meet him face to face because he's afraid of what eventually happens with Salute. He doesn't want the chance of retaliation.
I agree.
So that's it's like, keep him doing what he's doing, but also without saying it, without kind of admitting a little bit of fear. So it's kind of like the Godfather 2 thing of, when Vito eventually meets the man that ordered his mother and his father's death. You always like a fear of revenge. You never want to meet the kid of the people, the victim. You never want to meet the victim.
Okay, so then of course Sabrosito rears his little head into the picture. I just love this. Like Sabrosito is like the kind of like the bad devil on Eladio's shoulder in a way.
So again, all of this, bear in mind, all of this money is from 1 month. That's the add insult to injury. Let's go on Hector. All of this is from 1 month, while Hector's in 1 month is pitiful in comparison. So then Eladio's saying, "Oh, isn't this great, Hector? Look at it. It's okay. It's okay." And then he holds up little Sabrosito, basically kind of Sabrosito whispering into his ear. And he's basically kind of, again, I just love the glee at which Eladio does this is fantastic.
And what he's doing, of course, is that he's using something which was a peace offering. You know what I mean?
It was a really thoughtful peace offering.
A genuine like token of appreciation.
Which is a really nice token.
And just absolutely like twisting it and manipulating it to the point where it's just like, like
an insult.
Yeah, totally.
He uses his own Sabrosito against them with the whispering gag. Do you remember what he says? Exactly.
Something about Sabrosito. He says that Gus's stack is a lot bigger than his.
Well, here's the thing. He doesn't even say stack. He keeps it vague just to be more insulting. He says,
right.
He says yours is. He says Gus's is bigger. Fring's bigger than yours.
And then he kind of scolds Sabrosito a little bit. He's like,
say something
nice, Sabrosito. Then Sabrosito says that Hector's stack is cute.
But yours is cute, Hector. And again, just the innuendo there.
Oh, what's wrong, Hector? Cute's not good enough for you? Of course, Hector, he's just fuming. He's like, Don Eladio's just like, you're very serious, Hector. There's plenty of business to do north. And then, of course, Dom, Eladio's trying to kind of ease the tension a little. He calls
We're all friends here.
He calls to your shop. Drinks. Like, drink to your shop. Exactly.
We'll have lunch. And again, I love the lunch pleasantries.
But Jim, it's lunch. I'm sorry.
I do love the lunch pleasantries that a lot of these all about pleasantries. Because remember, after they closed the deal with Pinkman in Breaking Bad, it's like, hey, let's celebrate. Again, Eladio is just so fun loving. Again, he's like, what if it's a mixture of Fring and Tuco in a way? It's like, what if you had the professional quality of Fring and like kind of the kind of the mounds of success of Fring, but you had kind of the unpredictability and kind of the fun loving side, like
Tuco. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So as everyone's kind of walking away to get drinks, Hector is absolutely fuming at the sight of Dom walking away with a giant Las Polos logo on his back.
Oh, it's the perfect visuals. He's playing for he's on the Poyos team right now. He's on the Poyos Hermanos team.
Oh,
then again, last thing I'll lie, because we're not going to see him, I'm going to miss him, but just so we can keep going forward, is that again, a lot of he's like, what if Gus had an ego, which is connects to the thing I'm saying. Or just again, what if Gus had an ego? That's Eladio. So yeah, right then we have the shirt shot. Then Bolsa and Hector, of course, that's where the closest thing to Fring in the scene is Bolsa, and they have a bit there where he says, "Hector, you coming? Don't insult him by not showing up." And then Hector is left looking into the pool, which of course years ago where he shot the other Hermanos and they just let him bleed. The same shot.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
And again, a little bit of that twinge of sympathy, even though you were visually reminded, oh, remember, he killed me. He's brought all this horrible stuff to the forefront. He's the reason Poison Mouse exists.
Really good visual storytelling in this cold open. Really good writing. Really good character stuff. I'm all about this cold open. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's so good. Believe me, we could talk about it for longer, but we so last little glimpse of Sabrosito is we transition after a little Saul opening
into the actual Sabrosito, the Winking Greek restaurant.
Well, yeah, it's the sign for on top of Regatta Halato.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We see, of course, the logical aftermath of the last episode where Mike did his truck heist. Did his truck, the shoe full of meth.
The caper.
No, yes, the shoe full of meth here. No, folks, that is not a fistful of dollars remake. That is an actual shoe full of meth. So the DEA is raiding Regatta Halato.
I want them remaking that movie, Dragon. Don't put those ideas in their heads. That's my angry Mike impression, if you can't tell. I love the classics just the way they are. All right. Anyways. So
the DEA is raiding Regatta Halato after they were caught at customs, and now, of course, all scrutiny is on Regatta Halato.
Mm-hmm. Mike's
watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of checking on success, seeing if the job got done right, which it did. Mike's feeling a sense of justice, and as he's feeling this sense of justice, he's feeling a sense of justice has been done. He gets a call. He calls Stacy. Check in. He asks, played by the wonderful Carrie Condon, Friday from the Avengers movies now. Little fun fact. She asked, Mike's asking how the move went. She's, it's great. We're in a good neighborhood, real safe. Kaylee loves her school. We feel really, emphasis on we feel really safe here. All is going well. She thanks.
And that's exactly what Mike wants to hear.
Exactly. Oh, God. Jonathan Banks. Nothing beats a happy Jonathan Banks.
Right.
Really, it's like the best. It's like it's like one step above the Coke and a Smart Mo, to be honest with you.
I know exactly what beats happy Jonathan Banks. Okay, are you ready for it? Because it's the next scene. It's adorable Grandpa Jonathan Banks.
Well, wait a minute, hold on, I got to build to it.
Okay.
So, oh God, what's so great here? By the way, a little fun fact about Jonathan Banks: he has a nickname for Tom Schnauz, the director of this episode. He calls him the Little Prince.
The Little Prince. Oh God.
Yeah, because anytime a director's giving him guff, he'll say he wants to make the Little Prince happy.
That's great. That's great.
He calls other people that he loves calling. Schnauz is the original Little Prince. So let's see. Right. So basically, she's inviting Mike over for dinner, and Mike's saying, it's a little, it's like he doesn't want to impose. He doesn't want to. Again, he's always going to be that little bit of a divide in the back things. He doesn't want to compromise their happiness by being involved. But then, here's the moment that gets you.
Yeah, Kaylee's like, Pop, come over.
Oh, okay, and then
and you're just like, as an audience, we're just like, yeah, we know that that is like Mike's kryptonite right there.
And again, I love them. We just have the perfect cut to we don't even have to hear Mike say, okay. We cut to the hallmark shot of
the old movie and Kaylee falling asleep with Mike, and it's adorable. Oh my God, it's like a Hallmark moment.
And you could say this reminds us of a very key truth for all Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Does it?
That we.
Oh, I see what you're getting at, Dragon. Okay.
Key truth that we.
So, yes, we do love Mike, but let's set up exactly how we love Mike. Explain it, Dragon.
Well, you see, folks, at the beginning of this season, we love Mike right in kind of the dead center of that little track. And we're trying to track how much we love Mike this season, because before we've just been kind of like a calendar and saying, we love Mike here, love Mike there, love Mike not next Tuesday, but immediately here. And we love Mike all throughout that. So in this case, we're as Mike's been tracking people, and as we see, he's watching Regatta Halato. He likes to watch things, likes to keep track of things. So we're keeping track of Mike, just kind of show the mutual love there. So we love not only Jonathan Banks, the actor, but we love Mike Ermentrout. We love him in the dead center. We've kind of gone a little to the left, a little to the right. And where are we now? We are
up above the center, directly above the center. How's that, Dragon?
Yes, that's a lot of love.
It is.
Yes. A lot of love for the good old Mike Ehrmantraut. So, following that, just the shot that kind of epitomizes
I'm
all.
like trying to see how long I can hold this face. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Epitomizing again, just the shot that epitomizes why we love Mike, as you just mentioned, is again Kaylee falling asleep in his arms. Again, this is Mike's kind of like happy Shangri-La we're watching now. Like when Mike's getting the shiatsu, he's thinking of this.
Oh God! Right. So let's see. So Stacy comes in with some ice cream, and of course, this is adorable on Kaylee's part. She she's just awake enough for some ice cream, And I love how Mike politely declines the ice cream, and Kaylee's like, "I'll have his."
Yeah, we see the dog and the dog that Mike has. They gave the kids in the little basket. It's a really nice.
This thing doesn't really last long. It might be like a minute long, if that, but it's just a really nice kind of like slice of life into the good parts of Mike's life. You know what I mean?
By the way, I just want to say the place looks really nice and swanky.
It does.
Really nice, big and spacious. Yeah. So Mike's a little distracted as he's kind of contemplating Gus and just kind of what the next step is. For him. So Gus made his revenge happen.
Sure.
And it's allowed him to take kind of the less lethal option, which he really appreciates. So again, he's kind of contemplating maybe future endeavors with Gus. He's kind of taking in the kind of what's happening here. Things actually worked out. No horrible things happened for once.
Oh boy, Dragon. So now let's get to the chicken shack. Let's return to Los Polos Hermanos.
Oh boy.
Oh man, this is some big stuff. Let's go through this as quick as we can. But folks, there's some big stuff that goes down in the next 20 minutes or so of this episode.
Okay, we gotta stick to our points here. Let's remind people now, going forward, and this is important. We haven't had Nacho until this episode this season. Nacho from this point forward will have an increasingly more important role. So let's not forget that. So this is the beginning of whatever has been promised for Nacho's arc. So let's just bear in mind. So not every little, and it's something that's great in the direction. We have a lot of subtle character development on Nacho in this episode, so we gotta pay a little attention towards. So we're in Polos Hermanos, and again, first thing we reveal that Nacho's there, and of course we know Nacho has connections to Salamanca, so we know troubles are coming.
Oh boy, I love the way that shit in this scene just escalates very quickly. Oh God.
So Nacho's revealed, and of course Hector and Arturo. Arturo's the kind of the red-headed ponytail guy. They arrive. Again, Nacho is really great here because he's conflicted and worried about the collateral damage. Which we'll get into that. We'll get into that because there's definitely a couple moments where he is kind of a Batman. And of course, we've always seen that Nacho, even ever since the episode 2 of Better Call Saul, he's always been kind of he's been less collateral damage minded. He's always been kind of he's always been aiming to be more professional.
Sure.
So let's see. So I love the overall of this whole scene as we get into it. So again, Hector's arrived, and I love the tense kind of Western scene.
Yes.
It's kind of that classic scene from the Western, kind of that classic Shane scene of like someone disturbing the humble establishment, which then our hero then kind of intervenes. It's the classic Western scene, the disturbing the establishment scene.
And our hero in this case is none other than poor, helpless assistant manager Lyle.
I love Lyle.
Lyle means so well, right?
Yes, Lyle's so nice.
Oh man, oh my God! Like I could tell how Fring would like him and have him as assistant manager and whatnot, but oh God, this I feel so bad for this kid under this amount of pressure.
Oh yeah, but before we'll get into more of a Lyle love fest after Fring enters the fray. But right now, so again, Lyle is dealing with the very intimidating. At least it's kind of every assistant manager's worst nightmare come to life.
Pretty much, yeah.
So Lyle deals with a very intimidating Hector Salamanca, and again, Lyle can't speak Spanish, or he's just kind of like an idiot to Hector. So again, Hector's like he's not respecting this kid one iota. He needs to speak with Gus. He needs to speak with my boss. No, not your boss. The owner says, "Oh, Mr. Fring, Mr. Fring, yes."
Right,
So
right.
respectfully, the kid tries to, the kid tries to help out, take a message. He's doing all
Uh-huh.
the things he should do. Again, the kid's not at fault at all.
No, no.
Hector's just he's very impatient, very very not so nice.
And I love the realistic detail that the line's starting to form, and so Lyle's just like, "Please, sir, just go off to the side." It's like, because Dragon, I could totally relate to that. Like if a line's starting to form and you're
Oh, yeah.
behind the register, it's just like, oh dear.
So Hector wants Fring, but Fring's not in. And of course, we've had this situation Breaking Bad, like how we're kind of connecting that. So what would happen if someone really needed to see Fring, like Walter White? And we've seen what happens there. That was a more intense thing, but Gus is holding all the power cards.
Sure.
Gus isn't necessarily holding all the power cards at this point in Breaking Bad. So, at this point, the Albuquerque verse, I should say. So Fring's not in. So Hector's waiting around, and unfortunately, Hector's not wait quietly.
Yeah, it does not take long for Hector to just get in the mood for a puff of a cigar.
So Lyle is very pleasant and professional this whole scene. He's following the employee manual to a T, which, by the way, real quick, they've been doing more of every episode so far has gotten a Fring employee training video.
Okay.
And what's interesting, and here's the cool thing, the track, is that each employee video relates to the episode. Like the first one was communication. There was cleanliness, which was the whole help meeting Jimmy.
Right.
There was shipping, which is the truck stuff from the last episode. And this one was about dealing with an irate customer, which in the animation, which customer they had?
Oh God, I Jesse Pinkman.
No.
I don't know who.
It was Ken Wins.
Oh God, of course it's Ken Wins. That makes so much sense.
It was hilarious. So again, I recommend everyone check that out. So, and also it's a little thing to keep track of going forward. Like maybe we get some hints at what's to come. I'll get into that in speculation. Anyway, so again, he's following the employee manual to a T. He's dealing with other customers while he's going. So Hector lights and smokes a cigar, which of course
also Hector goes behind the counter and
grabs a free drink when he shouldn't.
Right. As this is happening, customers are starting to clear out. Dragon, I'm sure you love this moment where the two guards are kind of like not letting the mother and the child go, and then Nacho just like he just gives a nod, like, and the guy backs off. I'm like, yeah, Nacho,
yeah, awesome. And I gotta tell you, I really love I just love the mother. They have really good extras in the Albuquerque. They always have really good extras. I just love this mother and her little son. Just kind of like the mother gives a note that we gotta go. Right, just realizing, okay, there's some trouble brewing here. We gotta get out of here. And then of course Arturo gets the nod from Nacho. Yeah, let him go, man. Don't keep any of civilians here.
Yeah, seriously. Really nice. And then also, I just have in my note that Hector behind the counter with Lyle is just like, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be just fine. So and then he gives Lyle the most intimidating pat on the back ever.
Yeah. He's by the way, I love the fact that of all the cups he took a medium cup just to really stick it to him. He took a medium cup. He's filling it with Diet Coke, and you're right. Then he goes behind the scenes, and that pat on the show is perfect because basically again he's following the employee. He's like, sir, you can't be here, sir. You can't go back against smoking. He's going through the motions, and that just gives like nothing you say to me is going to matter. But keep at it. I'm listening. And by the way, so in this scene, there was a lot of extra deleted rudeness they had to cut out. So like he was some guy, either if not Hector, then his guys were gonna stick chicken wings in people's pockets and stuff. It was gonna be all
what, just to make a mess?
Well, just like
you have greasy pockets now.
Well, I'm saying they were gonna do more rude things in Poise Hermanos to kind of intimidate the clients, get everyone out of there.
Fair enough.
Again, they deleted it, so it's probably for the best. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just like sitting here thinking about like how shoving chicken into people's pockets would be intimidating.
Well, I think it might have been the manager thing too. I think there was like a few of the staff there.
Okay, fair enough.
The point is just gonna be more stuff like the taking the Coke and just the smoking cigarette, more stuff like that. Anyway, so. Moves behind the counter, shoulder pat. Enters Gus's office to wait for him. He's entering Gus's domain, entering his throne room, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, where is Fring? Fring's at the firehouse. Not just any firehouse, the firehouse from Ozymandias.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Where Baby Holly got to meet her first firefighter.
Yeah. Oh, God. I love how you say that like it's such a cheerful childhood memory.
Yeah. You get to sit in the fire truck and meet some firefighters.
Okay, so anyways, so there's some banter with Fring, like, oh, like, thank God to our local hero for the donations to the raffle and for making the best damn chicken in town. And then Fring's kind of joking about, like, well, gentlemen, I hope that I do not need your services. No offense, but if I do need them, it's good to know that, and then his speech gets kind of cut off by Lyle. And of course, Dragon, I love how serious Fring gets right out by the fire trucks, like you said, kind of over by the Holly situation. It's all coming together. So Fring's right out by the fire trucks, and he just he has 4 words, Dragon. He has 4 words in response to what Lyle's saying to him. I'll be right there. Oh yeah.
So, real quick, few things. First of all, and John Carlos is covering for the whole episode. John Carlos Esposito, he was so fantastic,
amazing
in this episode. And again, honestly, this episode alone, I think, gives him the supporting Emmy instantly.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the big monologue, Dragon. We'll get into the monologue, but yeah, I absolutely think that he's fantastic. And I think so far, like in the 3 episodes we've seen him in Better Call Saul so far, the first 2 were really just set up to this. I feel like this is the first major big Fring-centric episode of the series.
I mean, again, it's going to be between kind of Terriot and Giancarlo Esposito for the supporting Emmy. I got to tell you, oh god, Giants. And also, I just love the scale. How we see from the outside as he gets the call is like the speech to the firefighters interrupting. We see how the size compares. You see Gus is like the shortest guy in the room compared to all these tall firefighters. And again, we know what this guy's capable of.
Right.
It's awesome. So you're right. So then, so again, oh god, it's so well put together.
Here we go.
Together. So then we have kind of our Western, kind of our heroes finally arrived to put an end to all this dismantling of the establishment.
Yeah.
So Gus enters, and I love the doors instantly unlocked for him. It's like, okay, he's back. Let's open the door.
Then all of the staff is just out in the tables being held.
They're being held hostage.
Essentially. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. We keep talking again. It's so good.
It's fine. Okay, so I have Fring's dialogue here.
Go.
Okay. I want every one of you to go home. Pay. Let's see. I'm sorry. I don't have it word for word. Basically, you will be paid for your full shift. Normal schedule tomorrow. And then, I love this moment with Lyle. I know. My favorite moment. So Lyle's sticking around. He wants to just make sure that Fring's okay staying with these people. And it's such a fatherly, like, Lyle, I love you. I know you're doing the right thing for me, but you need to get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Like, and you can just tell that on Fring's body language. Like, he's just like, please, do as I ask. I'll see you tomorrow. It's like he's doing it in the most polite way, kind of essentially just being like, drop it, Lyle, shut the fuck up,
So, okay, a few things ahead before we continue on this awesome scene. So, oh boy, just let me make sure I say it so I don't forget, because we're going to get lost in the shuffle. All these great things are about to come up. So, again, you're right, that's probably one of my, short of the opening, is honestly my favorite scene in the episode here, when that bit with Lyle, where I just love the fact that Lyle's a real stand-up guy. I was hoping they were going to do this, and then when they did, I lost my mind. Yes. When just Lyle's like, "Just sure you want to be left." I'm like, "Hey, sticking up for Fring. He wants to make sure Fring's going to be okay." That's so nice.
Sure.
Yeah, like we had so many great little pleasantries, and the fact that he's compensating for the full day, letting him go. It's like, oh, this is great. And just on the whole, with John Carlos Esposito's performance here is good. As you and I joke, just want to make sure to bring up that this episode with Fring just makes you would love to see like a Netflix original.
Oh God.
Basically, like a Netflix movie, if not a very short miniseries, but it's like a Netflix movie of kind of a founder style Pollos Hermanos movie. We've never seen the construction of Pollos Hermanos. So, let's do it like the founder. That'd be a chance to see,
right, like him dealing with like all the drug stuff in Central America or wherever he was, and then
it's like Scarface meets the founder.
It totally is.
And plus, remember, we still have really great backstory we have never gotten into with Gus with the whole he's the Chilean national.
That's true. That's very true. I'm glad you bring that up. The
There's
whole
always that story there.
Chilean, yeah, the Chilean connection is definitely looming large on Gus until we actually do get that figured out.
That's
who
the
knows,
reason
Dragon? Who knows?
His partner was killed because he was a Chilean national.
We might be on our third Albuquerque verse show
I know.
by the time we get that answer.
That's what I'm saying. Either if we don't get a movie like that about just kind of like a freeing kind of like special or something about just all that freeing that, if we ever got a third series, it would have to be Gus. Sure. And again, I'm just saying, if we did kind of that founder style thing with the Imposter Manus, I'm just saying Lyle could be again a show with Lyle and Gus.
Yeah,
Lyle
that's what I'm saying.
Pinkman.
Just some good.
Lyle could be his Pinkman.
Some good kind of like unconventional like father-son bonding type stuff.
Yeah, imagine this. Imagine that Lyle initially he's very like he is now. He's completely unaware of everything. Maybe around the time he kind of becomes aware of things.
Right.
Maybe. Anyway, again, we're this.
Yeah, we're going down a rabbit hole with Lyle.
The point is I love the pairing of Lyle and Gus, and Lyle has one more really awesome moment later on. We'll get there. So. Then we have Gus. Right, we hear Nacho tells Gus. Again, Nacho has a little interaction with Gus here. Yeah. So Nacho tells Gus he's waiting in your office or waiting in your office.
I know where he is.
Oh God, that turn is
I love how he like
great.
He doesn't even really give Nacho the respect of finishing that sentence. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's one of the coolest Gus moments in there, where he's just he goes from like the loving kind of compassionate kind of mentor to Lyle. There, he's just saying, "It's okay, leave here. Make sure you don't get anything wrong. I'm asking you to please leave." Then he goes, "I know where he is." Oh God, it's so great.
Okay, so I have all the Gus and Hector stuff written out.
I just love the way Gus handles things. And, I'm trying to get it. With Nacho here before we move on to the film stars. I love how Nacho, I think in this scene, it's filled in the fire that Nacho loves the way Gus handles things. I just love how professional he's like. These people of this room, very scared employees, he handle them all calm, cool, collectively, and then he snapped into business mode right in front of Nacho's eyes. So I think this is like Gus is the end point of what Nacho wants to be.
I could see that
in business. Mike is the way to being Gus. Mike is always kind of his mentor, but beyond that, he's seen kind of the end goal of being Fring.
Right.
All right, so then Gus and
Gus
and he's off.
Yeah. So Hector, he's just like, cigarette lit up. Took you long enough.
In a dark room just for added effect.
Oh boy, does Fring just lay into him right now. Mine is a cartel business. But it is mine, and it is legitimate. My employees are civilians. Your actions today have endangered them. My interests and those of the cartel. And then, of course, Hector, he's not really hearing any of it. It's like he's really just kind of in one ear, out the other. And Hector's just very much going into full intimidation here. He's like, from now on, you are my mule. I am the cartel.
It says, I am the cartel, and you are my mule.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, it's a little reverse. I'm just saying feeds into it.
My bad.
I am this, you are much lower than me.
Yeah. And of course, I just love the tension here. He's just like, Gus is telling him why that's not possible. He's just like, make room in the trucks.
Because again, Gus is very super efficient, and I get basically got confirmation here. So we do actually get confirmation on how things work here at this point in the Albuquerque verse. So the idea is he's still transporting his product, maybe not in the same exact method that we see him bring, but the point is he's using trucks to the transport product as Hector has done as well. But now Hector needs to squeeze an extra thing, which of course could throw the whole thing off, which is exactly what Gus is warning about. Of course, in the scene, though, again, that you get a sense that the Salamancas have no vision. They have no sense of vision. They have no sense of the minutia, so he just doesn't care. It's all about exercising power and ego with the Salamancas. That's always what it's about versus Gus, who, again, is he's very practical. And even when he's, like, chewing Hector out here, again, he's doing the most respectful tone.
Right.
Again, is Hector no respect? It's respect versus no respect. That's what this scene's all about.
And so basically Gus, coming back with, like just questioning the merit of all of this. He's just like...
Was that a lot of
Yeah, this threatens the entire operation. Does Don Eladio approve of this? And of course, Mark McGillis' chilling line delivery here. He's just like, I approve this.
Well, by the way, just as we mentioned with the Eladio scene earlier on, we have like all these these micro power moves where his feet are on Gus's desk and he's scraping dog crap off of his shoe.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. Right.
Which is just again so disrespectful and right in front of him. Since again, Gus like hiding his anger so well in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy! And right then you have the I approve this. You are doing it.
And then that's about it, right? They kind of clear out after that.
Yeah, they leave, and then we just have we have a lingering Nacho. Again, he's the last to leave, kind of looking at Gus. Again, he's really inspired by Gus here. Gus then cleans up very quietly. Gus is cleaning up, and he grabs some foil, he kind of curls up into a ball, and we have this great moment. It's just a small moment, but it says so much.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
he takes the foil ball and he throws it in the trash. Basically, it's like a point for a cross. He scores some foil ball points. And then we have just this little. Oh God, it's just
the smirk.
Brilliant. The little smirk, and that just indicates
man.
It's that little smirk that says things are going to be okay, and that I'm still the big dog, so to speak.
And he's also, of course, got something cooking. He has got some sort of idea on his mind.
I'm just saying the way the rest of the episode plays, this is part of his plan because he's going to stop his operation. So he kind of knew this. He really didn't want to go directly through Poison Mouse, but he knew this response was coming. So we just have that please smirk. Just says it all, like, Gus is not finished. He's not intimidated. Like, you wonder, oh wow, Hector has Gus over a barrel. Oh, ye viewer of little faith, Gus. Don't worry, he'll be fine. He'll be quite okay so long as no one has a bomb attached to a wheelchair. He'll be fine.
I also have in my notes, just of course, better call Mike.
Better messenger Mike.
So speaking of Mike, Mike is at the toll booth. Is this the first time we've seen the toll booth this season? Or did we see it last episode briefly?
I'm trying to think. Well, there was the car lot in 2. It's not. I think it might be.
Yeah, because I don't think we saw it last episode because we were kind of talking about how Jimmy's around the courthouse, so it would be an easy way for them to work it in if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's probably why they gave it kind of a neat little kind of re-entry for like, hey, you guys remember this?
Right. Okay. So, so Mike is at a parking booth. He gets handed a bag of cash by Victor. Oh, yes. Everyone's favorite box cutter enthusiast.
His eventual proto-Pinkman.
Right. And, Mike does not take the money. He just wants Victor to tell Gus that they're square.
And just to clarify, this is payment for the truck job.
Yeah. Right. Okay, here we go, Dragon. Here we go. This, to my money, Dragon, the single best scene of Better Call Saul so far.
Delmer Square, very impressed in disbelief.
I'm talking the Polos Hermanos staff.
Oh yes, that's the next. Okay, next morning. Sorry, I got it in my notes. I'm distracting. Okay, next morning. Yes, you're right. One of the best scenes.
Oh my God, this scene is absolutely incredible. It's so incredible that I meticulously took the time to write down each and every word of Fring's monologue. Do you want to just set it up, Dragon, and then I can deliver it?
Yes, may I?
Sure.
Okay, so it's the next morning. And by the way, I just want to give kudos. So again, I like the great kind of day-night cycle of this episode. This has a great structure to it. It's day, night. Of course, Mike was at night. Now we're at daytime with Frank. So it's the next morning, quite literally after the whole Hermanos hostage sequence. So we address, I'll address that later. Yeah, I just wrote that notes. I'll address it in the speculation. Basically, Son's going to make Tiki really happy. Okay, so everyone's getting ready for the day, and then we have this great bit where Lyle and Gus kind of exchange glances. That's kind of like, it kind of indicates to Gus, okay, I got my most loyal guy here. He's kind of looking at me like, are we not going to address what happened? Come on.
Right.
Because again, Lyle expressed the most concern for Fring, which again was a sweet moment. And then we have Gus essentially just the broad spectrum here before my colleague gets into great detail. Hopefully he doesn't drop the ball, which he won't. As I know he's top of the line there, this guy. Gus gives a pep talk and kind of a grand addressment, like any great leader.
Oh boy. All right. Would you like to hear said pep talk, Dragon?
No, let's just skip it. Yes, I would like to hear it.
I would like to apologize to each and every one of you who yesterday had to endure the behavior of those men. It was unacceptable. Despite the difficult circumstances, you all acquitted yourselves impeccably.
Love him praising the staff.
Impeccably. That said, if any of you wish to seek counseling for lingering trauma, speak to me privately and it will be arranged.
Nice.
Also, each of you will be getting 24 additional hours of overtime.
Yeah!
As I'm sure in one way or another, each of you brought this incident home with you.
Freaking yeah, pleasantries, yeah!
As some of you know, many years ago... Oh, I'm sorry. Basically, this is a pause, and Lyle kind of like asks who the men were, right? And
yes.
then Fring gets into this. As some of you know, many years ago, I opened my first Polis Humanos in Mikhailakan.
Backstory.
Shortly thereafter, those same men showed up. They wanted money, and I'm ashamed to say, I paid them. You see, in that place, at that time, if I wished to conduct my business, I had no other choice. But yesterday they came here.
Oh, this one gets good.
Here, they intimidated my customers. They threatened my employees. And again, they wanted money.
This is the best part right here.
No, my friends, I must confess that I almost gave them what they wanted. But then I thought, no. This is America.
Yeah.
Here, the righteous have no reason to fear. Here, those men have no power. And when they saw that I had no fear of them, they ran, like the cowards they are, back across the border. They will not return. We will move on from this. My friends, I promise you that together we will prosper.
And I love this. Lyle's the first guy to clap, and then the rest of them break out. Plus, I like the. And here's the thing on the rewatch I caught. I didn't catch before. I love the fact that as Gus finished, I was saying, Lyle kind of gives his look up, and basically it's like you see he connects with him first, and he's super inspired by this. And I love that.
Totally.
Points for I don't mean just the sound he was going nuts for, but he really was good in this episode.
Now, what the great thing I love about this Fring speech is that it's exactly like the same kind of lying strategies that Walter White would go.
I know there's enough truth in it.
Yeah, it's truth nuggets, right? It's like there's just enough truth to kind of really sell it. And oh man, it's
in a way. What's so brilliant about this? I'm sorry to go on.
No, I just can't. I really can't say enough good things about it. It's everything that we've wanted to see from Fring since we saw that he was going to be on this show. I feel like this is very much the big kind of like, all right, you've like seen Fring in like a scene here or there through the past 2 episodes. Well, we're gonna get you a Fring monologue, man.
Yeah, this is kind of like the fodder for the Fring spinoff right here. Like just like AMC, let's show them this scene. Imagine this, but as a series.
Right. So really, really fantastic stuff. I don't even know how to follow that up except by just reading the actual dialogue. So
oh boy. So again, a lot of truth in the lie. I love how through this dialogue, through this monologue, he's essentially Fring airing out his frustrations in the previous scene.
Yes.
The way Fring airing out his frustrations is done so eloquently, it wins over a room like a patent speech. That's how Fring operates.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he's stressing out that he is not the main thing he stresses in this speech, and my favorite part of it, the whole and it's like this is just showing how brilliant actor Giancarlo is, where he says no twice, and both no's are different. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds very minor, but go with me on it here.
No, I hear you.
He says no in like kind of the very like casual, like no, he's like like kind of like that sort of thing, like he's a little light and kind of managery, and then it goes into then he gets in that serious little tease like. No. This is America, which, oh god, it's like taking kind of almost like almost like the opening of Godfather condensed into like the ending of this speech here. It's like all powerful. Again, just like he emphasizes with that going onward. No, we are not buckling to them, which is the main truth of whatever he's saying here. Again, he's speaking the truth, but again, he's just fudging a few details here. They weren't exactly getting money. I mean, they probably were they are getting money from the business, so it's not exactly a lie, just not exactly from the Polish or Mouse Chicken. But again, he's not exactly saying it, so technically the whole thing could be true.
No,
but
you're right, yeah. Except, I think, for the way that the actual encounter ended, I think that's a little bit boisterous on his part.
True, yes. Of course, like the fact that they asked for money again, yeah, that's a little... So yeah, it's a little different. Again, the point is like the whole
they didn't exactly go running across the borders like the cowards that they were. That
to be fair,
happen.
Now Tiki, to be fair, now we know that is the end goal of what's going to happen.
That's true.
We know that when in Grilled, Hector Salamaga he's outside of Albuquerque, so he's technically across the border. He's in I believe that's in El Paso where that takes place. It's really close by, so it's like I'm saying when they keep mentioning the El Paso business in season 2, like following the when Hank has to go to El Paso. I think they're also mentioning the Tuco stuff. So I think it's all in El Paso.
Okay.
The point is,
right.
All of that. So again, it's like the end goal of what Fring's saying here might be like a tease of what his plan is. He's going to send at least Hector across the border.
Right, sure.
To make sure, like, this never, and this would be, like, an awesome thing. This is what motivates him to do that. Like, no, he isn't coming to my establishment. He's never coming in here again. I'm going to make sure of that. Oh, such an inspiring, awesome scene. Again, folks, just polish the Emmy for John Carl. Here's the thing. You take the Emmy, right? You take the Emmy, you give, like, a little tiny, like, kind of like a Barbie-sized little kind of bucket of chicken, with a Pollo stamp on it, and you give it glasses and a tie.
Sure. Let's go with that, Dragon.
See, basically, it's like the little thing the Emmy's holding. It's like holding like a bucket of
all right. Okay, so let's transition to Kim if we can.
Yay!
Okay, so once again, Dragon, we have a montage of Kim kind of doing busy work, but this is very, very cool, kind of like private eye style busy work. You want to explain what she's doing here?
Yes, of course, Kim here is just doing what she does best. She's kind of diligently kind of doing a lot of menial work that does pay off in the end. She's in a montage of sorts. She's calling repairmen. See, the idea of what she's doing is she's calling repairmen, a series of calls narrowing down the possible places Chuck would go to fix his doors. So basically, she can pretend to be She's pretending to be Chuck's secretary and just canceling the appointment so they can insert their guy and fix the door. So.
Very clever plan. Very interested that Kim is so on board to essentially go with a slip and Jimmy move.
Oh yeah, and unfortunately, all of our I tried, but unfortunately, all these numbers I called all of the numbers in this episode. None of them.
No, really?
none of the repairman numbers were.
Oh jeez.
Which is a little disappointing, but I mean, maybe one will go to activate along the lines, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
So Kim's making all the calls. Let's see. Eventually, she lands a winner with Martin, handyman, and repairs at 2:30. I think was the time scheduled. She cancels that. Francesca, meanwhile, she's making with the pleasantries and the banter on the phone.
Francesca is just like so good at her job, right?
Yeah. Jimmy is
Pomeranians can be difficult. All that hair.
Yep. Meanwhile, Jimmy is typing a letter of apology.
And as I said, Dragon, 27 minutes in, and this is the first time we're seeing Jimmy. Let's just address that. What do you think?
Kind of like 5-0 all over again.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Hey, folks, remember who's the show's named after?
There he is.
Yeah. He's typing. No seriousness. Jimmy is very impressed with Kim finding the kind of pulling a slip in Kimmy. She, of course, she kind of did the impossible, which again, it makes all the sense what Kim Webster would be able to do, is given all her, all the various phone call, expertise and everything. The various times she's made, God knows how many phone calls, and eventually come out at the end with something to show for it. Jimmy is working on his remorse, is doing another. Remorseful pass on the formal apology letter he has to turn to Chuck. They're kind of getting into this whole conversation about in the wording of the letter damaged versus destroyed, because destroyed sounds really negative and they want to kind of
Which
go
is going to
damaged
go
as much
back
as they
to,
can.
like, again, like, I think it's the little details with Chuck that
Mhm.
really get under our skin when they get brought up.
Yeah.
So,
Then we have this really sweet bit between Jim and Kim where, he's, where,
Kim's just still super, super supportive, man. Just super
and again,
supportive.
this is kind of like, do you remember the comparison I had for like kind of all the reassuring Kim? I think it was, like you call like kind of a, like, I don't know if I use suicide hotlines. Like basically, if you need like the reassuring kind of like you need nice things, you basically need like some place where like all nice things that for Kim Wexler to say to you.
I don't. I know what you're talking about. I don't recall what you called it.
I forget what the analogy was, but it's like if it's
Yeah.
just like a thing of reassurance, then you just go to like you're having a rotten day, you should call into like I need to pick me up, and you just have Kim Wexler saying like, "Oh, you made a really good commercial, Jimmy," or like, "No, it doesn't look like a stock market crashing." Or in this case, seriously, you're welcome. Just like
Right,
in like
right.
Jimmy's like thanking her very seriously. Seriously, thank you. Oh God, such a sweet moment. But so she's asking if Jimmy if he's sure he's got the right guy, and then he has like the perfect intro line for our guy here, creme de la creme.
Oh God, yes, and we know that describes Mike Ehrmantraut to a T.
And I think the minute after this, as we transition to the next scene, I think the minute you put it together, like almost like it's like a Jaws entry because we know what's coming and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be kind of groundbreaking in a way because it's going to be an interaction we never thought we'd see for a long time.
Sure, sure. So,
Chuck gets a knock at the door.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
And it's Mike!
Oh boy.
A meeting of giants, not only of acting, but also character.
Dragon, I have a little bit of a theory here, all right? Like, Mike is kind of trying to small talk Chuck a little bit before he breaks out kind of the Deus Ex drill that he has. And he's essentially kind of talking about, like, they see the busted door, and he's like, remember there was a time when you could just leave your doors unlocked? And I don't know, Dragon, my theory on that is that Jimmy basically coached Mike to be like, talk about the good old days. You know what I mean? Like, Chuck loves to hear about the good old days.
Maybe. I never
I
thought
don't
of that.
know.
I think you might be on to something there. I don't know.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy kind of coached Mike on a few things. Like, okay, well, you had to coach him on like how to use the drill, so of course,
Sure,
sure.
I love the analogy that Mike makes. Like, well, if I don't use the power tool, I'll be going at this like Fred Flintstone.
So, well, before we get more of those lines, of course, I love from the very beginning when Chuck opens the door, he tells Mike the first thing he tells Mike to do is wipe his feet,
Right.
wipe his shoes.
Oh God.
So Mike's there, fix the door with an alternative purpose, as we're going to find out. Mike is he's in kind of his blue collar PI mode, as he loves to be.
Right,
He's
right.
playing up a character. When Mike gets to play up characters like the super blue collar with the Fred Flintstone lines. Time there to be door unlocked. Again, just Mike wonderfully plays is kind of the ignorant, which frustrates Chuck so wonderfully. Just with as he brings out the cordless drill kryptonite.
Right.
Again, this idea I thought was brilliant. Just kind of this cordless, like Mike is armed with kind of like Chuck's kryptonite, like a power drill. Because remember, as we've established way back in season 1, Chuck cannot sense batteries. It's like once he sees it, it's psychosomatic, but it has like physical symptoms. So the minute he sees it's actually there, then he's affected.
Yeah, and it's a very good kind of a good wiggle worm out of the semantics of like, wait a minute, my assistant told us no power tools, and then Mike's like, your assistant told us no cords, right? And so that's why I charged mine all up before I came here. So essentially,
Right.
Mike's trying to make it out to look like a simple misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, and then he points out that he holds a 2-day job, so Chuck allows him to do make a quick check because otherwise be Mike with me, myself, and Ben Gay, as he
Right.
phrases it. I love this too. It's like 2 bits again. It's I'm just gonna lost in the awesomeness of this interaction. So Mike's not giving Chuck time of day with the interruptions, and and we have this gag where basically Mike is interrupting Chuck constantly. As he's trying to basically what Chuck always is. He tries to own the idea, tries to make it sound like he's owning the situation.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, like Chuck's saying, well, okay, basically it's not like he's trying to make it sound like his idea. He's trying to make it sound like, okay, I'm allowing this. Where no, Chuck, you can't allow this. It's going to happen. Or just trying to say, well, okay, I'll be upstairs, and just interrupting him. Basically, it's kind of like the comeuppance for Chuck of like, yeah, okay, Chuck, enough talking.
It is pretty much more or less torture, though.
Well, he's fine. He's got a Disney.
Oh, I know he's fine, but I'm just saying, if you look at it from a kind of a darker ramification point of view, it's a little torturous, anyways.
Imagine the scene through the dark turn if Mike was hired to do a job like in Breaking Bad, where he'd hold the drill next to his head and force him against the wall. It's like,
oh God, okay.
And he wouldn't be putting it like to his. I mean, so they next to it, so the sound and everything would be like the battery would probably be right next to his head.
So Mike's kind of just running the drill aimlessly until Chuck goes upstairs. Then as soon as Mike is
we get the excellent shot. The way it's framed. Basically, there's a great divide between the staircase and the next room.
Right.
Chuck, he goes upstairs and he wanders downstairs a little bit because he's nosy, and then like scares him upstairs. Oh God, just thinking kryptonite. Uses kryptonite. That's great.
Then Mike pulls out a classic disposable camera. Oh yeah.
Brought to you by Kodak.
I know, right? I used so many of these back in the day. And I love
Kodak since Iron Man 2.
And I love the way that Mike disguises the clicking and flash noise of the camera with the drill. That's very clever.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, the directing of of the flashes going off from a long shot. Really good stuff.
Oh yeah. Okay. So next scene we get we're at the diner. Mike and Jimmy are at a diner. I believe it's Loyola's.
Sounds right.
It's the main cafe.
Yeah.
So Jimmy's looking through.
Jimmy's like a nicer J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
He's like, that'll work. Yeah. Good. Good.
I gotta tell you.
Sure.
When you say that, though, I kind of honestly would love to see Bob Odenkirk's J. Jonah Jameson. Seriously, imagine it. Just imagine playing it up a little bit more. But
I need more pictures of Spider-Man. Yeah, I can see it.
Imagine you get like kind of the Saul Goon where he's freaking out a lot of the time, but you have. But what if it was less yelling at Peter Parker, more freaking out about deadlines and stuff?
Oh my God,
Peter Parker.
Okay.
Seriously, how great would that be? Bob Odenkirk as J. Jonah Jameson. That actually would be really cool.
So, so like I said, Jimmy's just sort of, he's sorting through. He's giving some constructive criticism. He's like, well, we should work on our rule of thirds, but this looks good. And then he comes to a smoking gun dragon. He comes to
this, of course, is going to be very pivotal.
Yeah, it's a picture of a gas lantern on a stack of Financial Times.
And I gotta love that it's Financial Times, just
right.
Just to kind of see like the Chuck being hoisted on his own petard, like, "Hey, Mr. Intellectual, you made a mistake." So of course the idea is these are all we know at this point. These are pictures that Jimmy is most very likely going to use against Chuck, and we don't know quite to the extent. We have theories. We'll again, Lantern kind of confirming a few theories made, but we have this great line: "You're the Ansel Adams of covert photography, my friend." Also, now importantly, there's one other really important detail we have no idea what I have a theory about, which we'll get to in speculation. Okay. But so Mike's job was twofold: get the pictures. Fix the door, of course. Fix the door. Get the pictures and an address. Or I assume it's an address.
Yes, you're right. This is a very cryptic thing that gets brought up.
I think I know what it is. I'm pretty sure what it is.
Okay.
The point is, it's a mysterious piece of paper. It may or may not be an address. That could be a receipt or an address. It's a mysterious piece of paper that he got from the address book on Chuck's. I want to say his dresser. It was an address. It was in the address book on the dresser.
Nice.
So Jimmy's eager to hear. I love this though. Jimmy is eager to hear Mike's thoughts on Chuck, like the fans, just waiting to hear like Mike. I think we were all. Were you in the same?
You know what? I can totally be in Chuck's position a lot of the times where it's like if I hear that this guy is just totally unbearable and I'm around him, I'm just like, well, yeah, I can kind of see how he's a bit of a douche, but look, he wasn't a douche to me, so .
I just love I love that Jimmy's just looking for validation from like, kind of like, hey, proud of your boy moment. He's just looking for.
Oh God, here we go. How many of them are we gonna do before the end of the podcast, Dragon?
No.
Oh dear, I just realized Guardians Volume 2 is going to be filled with proud of your boy moments. Oh dear God. Prepare for that.
So, I just love that. Just again, like the fans were so eager to hear Mike Ehrmantraut's thoughts on Chuck. Because it's a big meeting, and of course, Mike's not giving Jimmy an inch. He's waiting for that validation. Come on, give me. He's waiting for someone with the thumbs up from Poppy. Come on, tell me I'm justified, Mike. Just a little bit, Mike. Come on, give me something. But Mike, of course, poker face, giving them nothing. They're asking if their business is concluded. Jimmy's saying, "We're even, Steven. You fixed the door right reasonably well." As long as he just wants to short Chuck as much as he can, humanly possible.
That does make a lot of sense because we know Chuck would be someone to go after. Like, hey, this guy didn't do my door right. I'm going to track him down.
Yep. And then we have a wonderful moment with Mike, and we get a great edit too. So again, it's a really wonderful. It's such a rare, great moment with Mike here, where as Jonathan Banks is kind of waiting on the scene. This is like kind of as the writers and everyone's kind of waiting on the scene. I think they're absolutely right. This is kind of Mike kind of contemplating what it would be like to work with Jimmy down the line as he and Saul kind of form their dynamic. The idea is these two guys, they've gotten to a point where they're not charging each other for the service, just kind of doing each other solids.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So again, they've kind of have a rapport going on, so they're kind of getting used to it. And again, Mike has this great moment where he says, after Jimmy thanks him for the job, he says, "It's nice to fix something for a change."
And then
really nice.
Kind of ruins the sentiment by saying like, "Oh yeah, you like that? I got a leaky toilet back in the office. Go nuts!"
Yeah, this wonderful character moment just cheapened by a toilet line.
It's like, "Oh, you punk kid."
But seriously, how nice is it? Just kind of.
Oh, it was nice. It was nice. Yeah.
Hasta luego, and then we have again building the Jimmy and Mike dynamic, and then of course we have a great cut to Mike reading. Again, with kind of building stuff on his mind, we cut to Mike reading the Handyman magazine, which is a perfect shot. Perfect shot. But then he has a visitor.
Oh boy, yes. Gus wants to talk. Oh boy.
It's like the lethal Mr. Rogers just entered.
Right. Okay, so Mike tells Gus to pull off to the side, and they have a little bit of a conversation. Basically, Mike's trying to say, like, look, what I didn't do for you. Let's see.
Gus is asking why. Mike says, "I didn't do it for you. I did it for him."
He's very short with him. Basically, he's just like, "That's not the kind of thing I'm going to take money for." Yep.
Then Gus makes an observation. May I make an observation? He makes the correlation that you're trying to make a correction for something that cannot be corrected. This is the Good Samaritan who was killed because of Mike and robbing the truck for his own gain. Mm-hmm. Well, his own gain and vendetta.
Sure.
Which, by the way, I want to make this clear. This line that again, we keep analyzing everything Gus is saying because there is a point to it, and I think with that line, you try to make a correction for something that cannot be corrected, is not just talking about the Good Samaritan. I think it's talking about that relates to Mike's character on so many levels. Think about it. Mike as a character is always trying to make corrections for something that he's trying everything that Mike does in the Albuquerque verse, especially in Better Call Saul, is trying to make up for the fact that he's responsible for his son's death.
Absolutely. In Better Call Saul, that's his main arc. Yeah.
And I love that Gus, of all characters, kind of has a line that kind of summarizes Mike. Again, if any character is going to kind of boil Mike down to a phrase, kind of boil Mike down to kind of that to a line, that's the character to do it. Someone's going to understand Mike on that level, and he's always just trying to make up for something that he'll never be able to make him. That's why he can't fully enjoy the moment when he's with Stacy. He's always going to have that in the back of his mind that he kind of crippled this family. He's always trying to make it right. He's always trying to build a family from shattered remains. Mm-hmm. So let's see. So then
Gus basically kind of like lays it on the head. Essentially. Perhaps
your actions benefited me.
Yeah.
Well, he says, your actions benefit me quite a great deal. Salamanca. I know it's just great to get Salamanca out of my head.
Mm-hmm. And then Gus, just very upfront, perhaps in the future you would consider working for me. Ooh.
That would depend on the work. In a sense, that's much.
And then Gus is basically just like the last thing he says is, "Would you like to know the reason why I told you to stop?" a bullet in the head would have been far too humane for Hector Salamanca.
And so two things.
Okay.
One, us overall what this scene kind of implicates with the future of these two. I think Gus is impressed by Mike. Absolutely, he absolutely.
I think not only is he impressed by Mike, I think at this point he's starting to realize he needs Mike.
Yeah, he's realizing that Mike is absolutely the guy he would want to work with. This guy has honor, he follows orders, and importantly, he can be trusted. Trust is a very hard thing to find. This guy follows things to a T. He's got his own code, and I think Mike, on the other side of this, he respects the business-like manner of Gus and his cleverness. I think cleverness goes a long way with Mike. I mean, that's why he even has respect for Walter White. He does respect cleverness a great deal, because Mike himself, being a PI, has to have a great deal of cleverness.
Sure.
And then the last thing with this scene that really, and Dave Porter has a wonderful, really subtle, awesome cue in this thing. At the end of the scene, we have a real kind of, basically a cue that kind of foreshadows the future in a way. It's hard to describe. It's just like a really eerie kind of cue at the end of it as this scene ends, which I encourage everyone to kind of rewatch. Okay.
All right, so Jimmy is alone in the conference room. Howard comes on, and Howard starts turning the lights off, and then
Chuck kind of a Norm from Cheers moment when I was watching. It's like, Hamlin!
No, okay, you know what I got out of I got the SpongeBob gag. I got Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, Sandy, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob. And then so I have basically have Jimmy, Howard, Kim, Chuck, Kim, Jimmy, Howard, Jimmy, Kim, Chuck, Jimmy, SpongeBob. SpongeBob's randomly in the room.
This is the episode where Plankton's dating Mr. Krabs' mother, isn't it?
I think so, maybe. Anyways.
Anyway.
So Hay walks in, and Hay is very polite to Chuck. Very one-sided. Basically, like Chuck is just the end-all, be-all, and
basically
she's
kissing up to Chuck big time.
Yeah, and oh boy, I don't know. To be honest with you, Dragon, if I was in Chuck's position, and of course we've talked endlessly about Chuck's actual motivation and whatnot, I would think this is actually a little bit patronizing.
Well, honestly, I think Chuck just likes to has someone absolutely on his side for once. So I think Chuck's just kind of basking in it, to be honest with you.
Okay. So Chuck, he basically has no self-esteem then. He's just like, fuck it. I'm just going to roll around in the dirt.
Well, honestly, you know what it is? I don't mean to just kind of keep jumping on the Chuck's an evil bandwagon here, but honestly, what I think it kind of is, I think it's like he's basking it, but at the same time, he doesn't respect her for it, which is kind of cruel.
Right. Just like he doesn't respect any of the people that he has under his employment at all.
That's what I'm saying. You see what I mean? It's like she walks in and she's kissing up to him, and he's just like, oh, that's what he was like. Okay, she's trying to relate to me with this aunt story. Where okay, well, it's I understand the tactic, but it's unnecessary. But I'll take it anyway. Like he's happy to take it, but he doesn't need it.
Okay, so they're going through
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
So, again, Hayes just kissing up to him then.
So they're going through the terms of Jimmy's sentence. Basically, he will be forced to do community service. He will be needing to provide proof of lawful employment. Dragon,
he's gonna have like a monthly meeting.
Dragon, this is a big one that I caught. He must only associate with law-abiding citizens. I think that's definitely going to be the clause in this thing that gets broken.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Something else to mention. This is something maybe, when we get to the end especially, kind of something against the episodes, that in this scene, I wish we kind of had some indication that this doesn't necessarily line up with the ending of last episode, because again, it's like we're going to shove he's taking the PPD in this scene. Initially, they said we're going to shove the PPD up where the sun don't shine.
Yeah.
So what I guess the implication here is that, hey, we're gonna take his plan, and we're gonna inverse the plan on himself.
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
I understand it's a little counterintuitive at first. You have to get used to it. I think.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out. So it's
okay. Alrighty then. Okay, so let's see. So and then also they're what?
Reading the requirements, basically reminding us what the PPD includes. Any infraction these crimes will be prosecuted to the full extent, along with any crimes you'll be committed of, and the bar will immediately be sent this confession.
Mm-hmm. And then let's see, Chuck. Okay, here we go with Chuck's an asshole. Of course, Dragon. Of course. Excuse me, Miss Hay. Page two. Would it not be more accurate to say destroyed a cassette tape?
No, it's like 2 seconds. Not even 2 seconds pass when it's like, as we go through this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, not even 2 seconds passes. Are you satisfied with this? Actually, page 2, which is right.
Right.
Which, by the way, again, this scene is really.
It's not a chair. It is a cassette tape.
Something to highlight the scene again. There's a really great, subtle, uncomfortable direction here. You see all these. There are these really targeted, subtle things that people do, and if you look real close, you'll see all these subtle things that communicate volumes.
Right.
We have these cool shots where Howard's leaning back, so Chuck's the only one in frame on the table.
Also, another way I was reading this is that I thought for sure that Jimmy and Kim were going to have some incriminating photos that they were going to just like whip out at an opportune time in this particular courtroom meeting. So that I got to admit that was kind of my expectations.
Yeah,
getting the best of me there.
Likewise.
But yeah. But I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get like because I was so ready for Jimmy to be like, "Well, Chuck, looks like you really got me, buddy. Except here's the thing: I have all these pictures of you, and you're totally unsafe, and I'm your legal caregiver, Chuck. Okay. I'm your caregiver."
All right. But yeah, again, I love how impractical the seating is. By the way.
Yes, and how Jimmy has to handwrite the change into the document.
Again, that's so great about it. I love
and initial it too.
We're not doing anything like we see in kind of your average procedure. I love how we are just kind of we're making things like really unique to the show, and all these real kind of great subtle. Right. These subtle little touches, like if you look at the eyes of even like in Michael McKean, just kind of like sitting back, he just seems so kind of like disinterested in certain places at what Jimmy has to say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so Chuck is satisfied, but Hay is not. So Hay is essentially like, well, your brother might be satisfied, but I am not, because I'm sorry. What?
There's a few details with the tape. So importantly, they're really importantly they're clamoring. The reason these bring up the damage is not just to be a prick entirely. It is pretty much to be a prick, but it's also they're trying desperately to get the tape mentioned. If the tape's mentioned in the thing, that means that the tape will be brought up again. Right. So that's why they're really fighting to have the tapes. That's why he didn't want it to be vague. So they got it into a vague thing. So they're kind of defeated on that side of it. Sorry, what?
I did a Nelson Muntz.
Right. Okay, so then they sign. You're right. Jimmy signs the personal property thing, and then we have this as Hay forces Jimmy to say his apology, and you feel so bad for Jimmy. The way Bob Odenkirk says, he says it as it's been phrased, and I agree with this 100%. So emotionally drained an apology this is.
I've got this whole apology, by the way, if you want.
So let me build up. So again, such an emotionally drained apology to Chuck, and what Jimmy's communicating, what you're about to hear, is that he's communicating that this should be Chuck's apology to him.
Exactly.
And I love how that comes across. And I think Chuck's kind of reading upon that, and that's why he's just kind of looking so. It's like a part of him like feels it, and you get to see it's like less him feeling remorse, there's him feeling like the impact of it he'll never learn.
Okay, so basically, Chuck, I'm very sorry. I lost my temper and I did some things.
Sadder.
So many things that I regret. I shouldn't have broken down your door. Doesn't matter how I was provoked. I shouldn't have done that. There's no excuse for that. Or for the things that I say.
Desperate.
I regret it all. All of it. More than you could imagine, because you're my brother. And no one should treat his own brother like that. Not ever.
Think Emmy.
That's it. That's
all right. I know. I'm kidding you on the end there, but yeah, you do.
Okay. Okay, and he wants to pay the fine up front, and oh god, here we go. So Chuck, of course, he has to have an additional $1.50 or so added to the fine because of the cassette. Yeah, because the cassette tape. And I just have written down on my notes, like, Kim is on Jimmy's side specifically for petty shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yep. Now, Tiki, again,
that's so petty.
Point, though. No, there's a reason for the 298. It's not only just Chuck digging. This actually puts the thing in the evidence.
Okay.
So this 298 is absolutely important. Is like making sure the tape will be played at a hearing.
Gotcha.
Without this, the tape might not have been played. So they like kind of some opportunities here.
So speaking of the tape, may or may not be played. Kim kind of confronts Howard and Chuck about that very issue. And let's see, how does this go?
Well, there was something real quick I wanted to note down the rewatch is that Chuck's arm, you'll notice, after they bring the tape into evidence, after they get they add the cost of the tape after Jimmy wants to pay up net, writes a check out for it. After the tape is counted on, you'll notice Chuck's arm then starts to feel the effects of the electricity. In the room. Basically, it's like he's doing his thing where he's trying to fight it off. I interpret that as that is either him feeling a twinge of remorse for what he's doing, or that's just the relief of, like, I've achieved my evil plans, except it's just him letting off some steam of, yes, it worked.
Right.
But I'm saying I think that move, all these great subtlety in the direction of, like, oh boy, there's some levels going on here. So yeah, Jimmy leaves. Kim puts Chuck and Howard on notice, and basically they kind of put their cards on the table.
Mm-hmm. They're all in poker terminology.
She plans on suppressing the tape because what she's doing here. And again, this is my gripe with the episode kind of comes from this. So Kim's. Okay. It's a little too vague for my taste. We'll get this at the very end. But the point is, she basically presses. My interpretation is she presses them to get a confirmation there is a duplicate of the tape, which Chuck, feeling confident, says, "Oh yes, Jimmy destroyed the duplicate. I have the original under lock and key," which I think is what Kim was trying to get out of him. So,
right, I think so too. I think the fact that Chuck, basically, what they're wanting to do here is they're trying to paint Chuck as kind of like a slip-in Jimmy type guy himself, where this is more of a frame-up job than anything else. At least that's how I read it.
I'm in the same boat with you, T. I think that's kind of what she's. I think it's playing. I think they're going to use. I think they're going to use every arrow in the quiver. That's going to be.
I think it's kind of it's going to be a combination of, like, look how manipulative this guy was, and also, like, look how much of a danger to himself he is.
Yeah, I think that I'm with you, D. I think we're on the same train there.
Okay.
So let's see. So then Chuck invites Kim to motion whatever she wants, but and this is an intimidating little foreshadow of what we might see in the next episode. But remember, the bar's standards of proof are far more lenient than what you're used to. I think it's going to be really, really important.
Oh yeah.
The tape will be played.
Dun dun.
So then we have a little tease of Jimmy's shoes, and then of course he's asking, well. Then Kim says, echoing, of course, Jimmy, an episode title from season 1.
Bingo!
We have this cool double door. The doors are opening, and they exit stage left. Really good last shot, I will say.
All right. So let's get into some quick spec dragon. What do we see from the promo here?
Okay, promo for Chicanery. Chicanery's next episode. Jimmy, this is a great poster image too. Just Jimmy at the vet with a goldfish.
Right.
Chuck is on the stand. The bar hearing, and now to my just what it looks like it's a bar hearing, not a trial. So again, just based on the PPD, it's not going to trial. It's just to emphasize that again. It's like there are three judges, like 3 representatives of the bar. So empty room, 3 representatives, very few witnesses. So. There's a mention, now this is very important, all these subtleties here. She's Kim is telling Jimmy, she's going to hate you before this is over. Price, Paige, sorry, not Price, I'm thinking. Paige is asking Kim, sure, this won't be a problem, most likely referring to Mesa Verde and all this stuff going on.
Right.
Do you someone that kind of our prosecutor guy or whoever is representing the bar being a prosecutor, like asking guys their questions, asking Chuck a question. Mm-hmm. Do you hate your brother? Someone asking to Chuck, do you hate your brother? Chuck is upset. He's weeping. He's weeping in darkness at his house. He's weeping. Boy. Alone. Then we have there's an AV cart wheeling what might be a tape player, might be something else. Not sure. It's then Chuck has this cool. Michael McKean delivers this line awesomely. It's not about what's right or wrong. The law is too important.
Right.
Jimmy's saying, "You got me dead to rights, Chuck." We see a sad Francesca, and then of course the
Oh
last
no,
line
not
is,
sad Francesca.
Yes, Tiki, sad Francesca.
Oh no.
And then Michael McKean has the best line ended on. He says, "Let justice be done." It's so evil. He says it's so evil.
Oh god.
Honestly, it is the most
You know
evil
what it
delivery.
kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of like the evil judge from Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, who's just like so gleeful to send you to prison, like guilty.
Honestly, this is the most evil Chuck line we've ever gotten. You gotta be honest with you. Just out of context, it sounds like the most evil. Let justice be done.
Okay. So I definitely think a switch is going to go off, and Chuck is going to be in hot water by the end of the next episode. I really do.
Okay,
I really think that the first 5 episodes of the season build up Jimmy versus Chuck, and I think the last 5 episodes kind of like deconstruct the ramifications of said encounter. So I think something very big is going to happen next episode.
Oh yeah. So first and foremost, let me theorize what the big paper, the mysterious paper is. So.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure is with the mention of she. Let me read you the official episode description. You're gonna get really excited, so hold all questions to the end. So here's the official description of the episode for Chicanery.
Okay.
It's all vague and stuff, so it's not spoilers. It's vague. Kim and Jimmy face off against an adversary. Jimmy looks into Chuck's past to secure his future.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy loses an ally, but gains another.
Ooh, cryptic.
So that's all of our vague stuff. So let me based on that and based on just kind of general ideas. So here's what I'm thinking. Okay. I'm thinking Jimmy looking into his past is what gave us that piece of paper. I think that's Rebecca's address.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
I think we're calling Rebecca, and I think Rebecca's going to be in the episode. I think Rebecca is the she, and that she's going to be called to stand to testify against what happened to Chuck, why she left Chuck, which is why Chuck's weeping in the promo.
That would be a great get on Jimmy's part. Oh man!
And that's why Chuck's going to want revenge on Jimmy going forward. He's just going to Jimmy's going to. Chuck's going to feel like Jimmy pushed too far with Rebecca in the past. Mm. So I think that's going to be the crux of what Jimmy's trump card is, and of course,
honestly, the only thing I can think of with the trump card is just like the lanterns on the magazines and like Jimmy doing the caregiving thing. Like that's about the only thing I have in terms.
I think it's all going to build that. Then the trump card. Well, I'm saying like Rebecca's going to be the kind of the meat and potatoes, and the dessert's going to be the lantern.
Okay.
Let's see. I also so in terms of the allies and all that stuff, I fear that Jimmy losing an ally could be. I have two ideas who it could be. Losing an ally, unfortunately, could be Mike for the time being.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Because let me tell you why, and I have evidence of this. The shot, that poster he shot, Jimmy's at the vet, and you got to imagine who's the vet.
Right.
I think it's the same vet. I think it's Joe DeRosa. I think it's Mike's guy, and Mike's not going to be happy Jimmy's going to him.
Oh boy.
Again, there's a chance it might not be. Maybe Mike referred him to the vet. The point is Jimmy's going to the vet. I love the absurdity, by the way, that he's bringing a goldfish to the vet. I think it's hysterical. It makes for a perfect shot. But either way, so the point is, I think Jimmy's going to the same vet. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not sure. And I think it's going to depend on might be how he loses Mike. And if he doesn't lose Mike, I think he's going to be losing Francesca again for the time being.
Oh no! Oh God! Okay.
Because again, we saw sad Francesca. It makes me think that he's losing Francesca.
True.
The third that it could be Ernie, which, by the way, let me give you some props now. We'll say this, just based on the whole halado thing I got this episode, my theory being kind of coming true. Yeah. I'm going to entertain your theory, Tiki.
You're going to entertain it, okay.
I'm entertaining it because if we get the Ernie thing, I think it's going to play out like this. I think we'll play it out at the end of this season. We're going to tease the Ernie being related differently. We're going to have a little wink to the audience at the very end of the season that, hey, oh my God, you never thought of this, you never put it together, because when Gus was walking with short sleeves, he looked just like Ernie. It was like, guys, we've teased this, and how if you haven't put it together. So Ernie next season, we're going to play with the whole idea that, hey, Fring has a son.
Okay. Okay.
I'm saying that's as much as I'll entertain the Ernie thing. I don't, unless they really tease it in the episodes coming up. So that's as far as I'm going to entertain the Ernie thing. Anything else major? With the Poyos videos, the next video for Poyos is called Code of Conduct, and I think that's going to relate to either Jimmy and Chuck's tactics against each other, the chicanery of it all, or Mike's, one of those two, or both.
Okay. Cool. All right.
I think the ally that Jimmy's going to gain is either the vet or Hamlin.
I think Hamlin would be a good bet for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. I think I might have one. Again, the she is either Rebecca or Francesca. Those are the two she possibilities.
Okay.
Also, we were teased the scene. I did not watch the full thing. I got the gist of it though. Kim there's a scene in the next episode. It's gonna be a painful scene, I'm sure. Kim giving full disclosure to Kevin Wachtel and Paige about the stuff going on.
Oh God! Oh, that's gonna be brutal.
So basically, I expect it's gonna be her preparing them for. I hope it's not her. I think she's gonna tell them about the tape. I think she's gonna tell them about the tape, which could spell doom.
Sure.
If not telling him what's on the tape, at least telling him that we're going to be under a lot of scrutiny, but I assure you we can take care of it. So one of those two things.
Right. Okay. Sounds good.
That's all I really got for spec.
So shall we make a phone call?
Yes, we only get one, so let's call our good old friend here. Well, you'll find out. 505 242 6087.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Yes, so that's our old friend Nacho at his number. Again, if you ever want to talk to your old pal Nacho, leave a message because he probably won't answer, but he will listen to it down the line, I hope. 505.
Sure that Michael Mandow is just like checking that hotline and like getting back to every single person who leaves a message.
505-242-6087. And by the way, folks, the reason that is there is because way back in episode 3, I want to say.
Yes.
Of Better Call Saul, when Jimmy was calling Nacho like crazy, that was the actual number you could call, and you could. That's
Nice.
So that's where that number.
Well, it's appropriate. This is the first time we've seen Nacho this season, so
yeah,
well played.
Okay.
All right. So final thoughts, Dragon. I'm going to make this brief. I think this was a spectacular episode of Better Call Saul. I will agree with you, Dragon, that I wish we would have seen a little bit more resolution on the Kimmy and Jimmy stuff. But having said that, I just think the first half hour is just so solid with Fring and Eladio and Hector, and it's just all so tense and riveting. And I do think there is some good legal stuff with Jimmy towards the later half of the episode. It's just kind of it's just kind of like in a vacuum compared to all the other stuff going on. So, well, I do wonder that will the Fring stuff kind of just overshadow the Jimmy stuff more and more as we go along. I am kind of very much interested in seeing both storylines play out, and I'm still totally on board with the show. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
For me, I thought this was very strong, kind of a Gus-centric episode. It ends very mysteriously. Again, it's kind of a fun little twist here where we have. Usually we kind of reverse that where Jimmy's in the forefront, we end kind of mysteriously on the Gus Fring stuff. We kind of pull the complete 180 on that one, so we end mysterious on the Jimmy stuff and Gus is in the forefront. I think my one flaw with the episode, honestly, I think it's super strong. I think it's great, but I think, and this isn't something that kills the episode by any stretch. I'm just saying the only gripe I have is that we lose momentum. Because we know it's going to pay off. Of course, it's going to pay off. Like again, the best comparison I have is episode 8 from last season, where the whole episode is Mike preparing the spike strip for
sure
for the Regatta truck. And again, we know it pays off, but still, episode 8 really is all about the setup on his story. Which seems like unless you get that payoff, it seems like a lot of nothing.
Right.
So again, here it's like we were expecting like one of those like aha moments, which we didn't get, and we're still not in on what Jimmy and Kim's plan is 100% quite yet. But again, we have our theories, so I mean, again, it just deflates the fun a smidge, but it does not kill the episode at all. So again, a really strong episode, just a little weak sauce in the ending, but not bad. It's still sauce.
Alrighty then, and with that, that's all for now. We'll be taking a temporary recess till next time.
Remember, kids, when you get that phone call, make it count. Better call Saul. Saul Goodman Associates is the one-stop shop for all your legal needs.
And with that, we are adjourned.
We could totally be lawyers.
We could totally be lawyers, Hector.
Sabrosito.
Sabrosito!